Welcome to the Nexus of Adventure, where stories transcend the page, a place where heroes and villains clash. This is Break, Battle, and Roll. It's once again time to break, battle, and roll. Welcome back, guys. My name is Aaron Rollins. I am your Dungeon Master, and it has been a good long while since we recorded, so we're going to get right back into this. Let me introduce you to our cast, starting with Tumbleweed's big brother, Chad Stafford.
Oh, I can only hope. But yes, I am here. I am ready to adopt and, hopefully be a good influence on this young fledgling.
I've also got here Califran's Big Bay, Jamil Wilkie.
Hi there. I see I'm still next to Chad Stafford. He hasn't yet transformed into my good friend Timothy, but I'm here.
Sorry. Listen, he did say it's been a while. You don't have to bring it up.
But would I be me if I didn't?
You sure wouldn't. You're already in character.
And of course, Bernice's big buddy, Dustin Bleschmidt.
Sherman Jeopard here. I was thinking about a joke about wood, but I couldn't come up with one.
Buddy, huh? Did Bernice already friend zone you?
Oh my god.
Oh, my ship. Both of them. My ships.
I've got the yips a little bit, I think.
All right, guys, let's get to that very much needed recap. On our last break, battle, and roll with Sir Lunox and the Fracken behind them, Califran steered the Saffron Citrine into a patch of dense fog, skirting nearby islands in an attempt to throw their pursuers off their trail. Navigating the Gestaltian Sea proved somewhat difficult for him, however, as Flowerkraut took notice to how the Proctor struggled aligning his path to the now missing Prime Star. To get a better view of what little night sky they had left, Flowerkraut and Califran squeezed up into the crow's nest alongside the ever-vigilant Timothy, creating a bit of an awkward lack of space. Timothy removed himself, granting Califran a magical moment with Flowerkraut.
That's what he's calling it.
I can show you the world. Shining, shimmering splendor.
Which was cut short as the ship sailed over the shallow end of an islet, stone piercing the lower hull and bringing the Saffron Citrine to a sudden halt. Both Timothy and Califran were thrown from the crow's nest, but avoided injury by either being caught or feather falling. The disciples immediately began bucketing water from the lower ship, while the trio inspected the damage and devised a plan to get the vessel moving again. A combination of skills were put into action. Timothy's shatter spell weakened the protruding stone's base, and Bernice delivered a force strike to break it. Flowerkraut then temporarily sealed the breach in the hull with ice, followed by Sherman Jeopard's hidden skill, carpentry. Together, the group was able to get the Apostleship vessel operational and moving again, at least long enough to reach their next destination. The island Glavio. Califran had received a request for aid from an unknown source. History had all but forgotten about Glavio, according to the Proctor. It was an uninhabitable island with no known population. Still, with enemies potentially still on their heels, Glavio seemed like the perfect place to hold out while they decided their next move, and still gave the Apostleship the opportunity to provide help. Califran instructed Bernice to accompany the heroes onto the island while he stayed with the ship to make more permanent repairs and to keep watch. As the group made preparations to go ashore, Timothy spotted a dark shadow disappearing into the cliffside further up the beach. They hop off the Saffron Citrine and approach the stone entrance, where both of the dogfolk caught scent of something smelling like Timothy. After a little conversing about how Sherman and Bernice knew each other from Foster, they entered the narrow, rocky opening and found a black feather. Timothy cautiously took the lead, moving through the tight, majestic, natural formations of the Slot Canyon.
They call it the Glavial Butt.
Ah, yes, another magnificent crack.
Well, this is the Glavio butt time. As they approached the end, more and more voices were heard. Soon, voices turned into a full-on presence of a settlement. The bard peeked around the last corner and saw a bazaar being run by both his own kind and lizard folk alike. A young Kenku popped out in front of him, introducing himself as Tumbleweed, then happily offered to introduce the group. As the four stepped out of the canyon and into the marketplace, all eyes turned to them, and conversations turned to silence. And that is where we left off. So, you guys are standing in still a canyon, but it has opened up so that you can see the sky more clearly. And you can tell that this marketplace, or this settlement, is housed here because of the shade it provides from the sun that beats down on this island. There is a cantina in front of you, essentially a central bar that's circular, and plenty of these lizard folk, these, I guess Gila monster looking people, and Kenku sitting on the left and the right side of it. It almost seems like there's a division down the center. Kenku sitting on the left, Gila monster people sitting on the right, but then there's a mix of them actually working the bar. But all of them have kind of stopped talking to each other, and they look over at you, and you guys see that Tumbleweed's standing there with his face looking out to everybody else with a big smile, and he's looking back at you and looking at them, and he's kind of confused why everyone is so shocked at this.
Yes, why are they shocked at this?
One of the Gila monsters goes, what is this, Tumbleweed? Tumbleweed just kind of scratches his head, and you hear him say, friends, in some unknown voice. They're your friends? Scratches his head again. Introduce, he says in Timothy's voice. You see a younger Gila monster person step out from the cantina. Female. She's wearing an apron, and it looks like she's perhaps maybe just one of the employees there that busses tables. She sets down some cups and glasses on the bar, and she dusts herself off. She walks over. Tumbleweed, what are you doing? She whispers. And who are these people? Tumbleweed points back towards the canyon that you guys came out of. She looks up at the four of you. And you guys notice that Bernice is eyeing everybody very peculiarly. So like she's just kind of looks like she's on the defensive. Like everyone's staring at you guys, and Bernice is kind of taking up this position of, are we about to be attacked? What's going on?
Timothy's got like, if possible, because we're in a fantasy world, if he was a cartoon character, he would be gritting his teeth in a frozen smile and would literally just be sweating profusely somehow through feathers. And he like slowly like leans over to both Flowerkraut and Sherman, and through his gritted teeth, we shall say, he says, I don't know if they should be aware of my ability to talk. Could someone please take the reins on this one until we figure out if this is cool?
I feel like enough silence has gone by that maybe like the bartending crew on the Kenku side is just like whispering to each other, what are you having? 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 What are you having?
Well, hi. We're all travelers. We're actually answering a call for help, but we felt like stopping here if we are welcome. We don't mean any harm.
Tumbleweed raises his hand and points at himself, and he gets all excited. And the young lizard folk looks down at him and he goes, "You sent for help, Tumbleweed?"
Oh, hey, little buddy. You said you were the one that sent the message for some help? Do you need a hero?
He nods. Hero! In your voice. The lizard folk, she turns, looks at back everybody that's staring, and she just kind of waves. And she then turns to the four of you and says, "Perhaps we should have this conversation over there." And she points back into the canyon that you came out of.
Oh, sure thing.
Yeah.
Let's just, I guess, shuffle back into this narrow cranny.
Shuffle, yes. He says in Sherman's voice.
So you guys squeeze back into the slot canyon along with Tumbleweed and this young lizard folk. And she's kind of like, you see that she's kind of smacking Tumbleweed on the head, like playfully, like not really playfully, but like big sisterly. And she goes, "Tumbleweed, I can't believe you didn't tell anybody about this." And he just kind of like laughs and shrugs his shoulders, and you guys get back into an area that's a little bit away from everybody. You can hear that the conversations have kind of sparked back up. Bernice like leans up in a corner of the canyon and crosses her arms, and she just has her eyes narrowed.
Tumbleweed, are you the one that hailed the saffron citrine?
He nods, and he says, "Oh yeah, the Apostleship," in a dwarf's voice.
I wonder if he knows the captain of
What are you talking about, Sherman?
And what exactly do you mean by that? He says in a dwarf's voice.
Oh, I mean, doesn't he sound like our friend that runs the booze cruise?
What? We've never been on a booze cruise together.
I think you're thinking of some kind of multiverse event that might or may not be canon.
I really want to go on a booze cruise together, though. We
Oh.
should do that as soon as possible.
Yes, maybe for some sort of holiday event.
That's right. I fuck. Okay. God damn it.
Sherman blinks slowly as like shakes his head.
Tumbleweed jumps up and down, and he kind of like gets all of your attention, and he looks over like at this lizard folk standing next to him, and he looks at you guys, and he goes, "Welcome to Oscar's Refuge. What can I offer you, friend?" And it sounds almost exactly like the bartender that had first addressed you guys back there.
Well, I think what we'd like to know is how we can help you out, because that's why we're here, because, you know, we do things that help people when they need it, you know.
And also, isn't this the first, like, shop area we've been to? Would they be down for us spending a little dough here?
He looks at the lizard folk and goes, "Risha, clean this up." And the lizard folk goes,
This one's a
yes.
spicy little meatball, isn't he?
Yes, this I'll take over, Tumbleweed. Hi, my name is Risha. You are in Oscar's Refuge, and apparently this little bugger called for aid when I don't think we actually needed it. And she looks down at him and gives him this cruel stare, and he shakes his head no, and he like kind of stomps on the ground and looks at her, and he gestures like, "You know what I'm talking about." Fine. You see, the trouble here is that we
don't want to get involved with the rest of Archipeldia in our own troubles. We should be able to take care of them ourselves. We certainly didn't know Tumbleweed was doing any of this calling for aid. No one actually really knows that we are here on Glavio, and we prefer to keep it that way.
I think Sharman gives a little glance to Bernice. Like,
She looks at you.
hey, can we help them on the down low? On the DL?
She sighs and kind of like shakes her head a little bit like, it depends. And then she looks back at Hrisha. I assume that Tumbleweed is referring to the incident that happened lately here. You see, we Gilaks, and she puts a hand on her chest, and the Creckle, and she gestures to Tumbleweed. We live here mutually for benefiting each other, and it's been that way for a long time. You see, Tumbleweed and I, we grew up together. We were born here on Glavio, and for the most part, it's been just fine. The Creckle are great hunters. The Gilaks are craftsmen, and they have the strength that the Creckle don't have when it comes to catching a sandbuck. We all live in, well, peace until recently. You see, and she starts to kind of get a little hesitant in the way she's speaking about things. Some of the Gilaks have been acting strange, and they killed one of the Creckle. And she looks down at Tumbleweed, who is frowning and looking at the floor. And we had to restrain the Gilaks that were doing this, and we haven't been able to figure out what is wrong with them.
Wait, so you mean like they, oh, I hate to say this, but have they gone feral?
I wouldn't say that. They seem like they are mindless. We can't seem to communicate with them. I shouldn't say we. The Creckle have bound them and taken them elsewhere, away from Oskal's refuge, and they won't allow any Gilaks to see them. There has been a distrust between our people, and it is growing day by day. Even people of Gilak and Creckle do not sit next to each other anymore. They don't know if the next strike will happen. The Creckle have been whispering, according to Tumbleweed here, about leaving.
Oh. Do you happen to know those Gilaks personally? Is this, like, you know that this is very off behavior for them?
Yes. We everyone knows everyone here, and this is unusual behavior. We don't know, and who would care about us? We're just some people trying to make our way here in Archipeldia without being noticed. And she kind of side-eyes Bernice.
I can understand how you feel in that regard, because I lived alone on an island that I thought nobody would care about other than to bring a booze cruise over and party on and then go away. But there were some people that thought the island fit for a purpose, And I'm afraid those same people might potentially be using those Gilaks as thralls. Is there any other strange occurrences that's been going on? Something that would feel fey in nature, or like a hag, for example? Just throwing something out there would do?
I don't know what those words mean. A fey? Hag?
Oh, like an evil witch. I don't know, magic. Just like anything strange going on, change in the landscape.
Tumbleweed points at you, Flowerkraut.
Yeah, I get that a lot. God damn it.
Tumbleweed then goes, hag, in your voice.
I shake my head and put my hand on Flowerkraut's shoulder, and in Sherman's voice say, "Hero."
Aww. Thanks, pal.
Tumbleweed sees the error of his ways, and he then walks up to Flowerkraut, puts his hand on your hand, and goes, "Hero," in Sherman's voice.
Yeah, see? She's not a hag. She's just old.
Fuck you, Sherman. I give him a little punch.
Old.
Yeah, you know, like
God
Like
damn it,
this-
Tumbleweed.
just a nice old lady. Old lady.
Well, it sounds like you might have maybe an idea of what's happening here. This incident happened about 4 days ago. Nothing since. But there has been a lot of anxious tension in those 4 days. And we don't know if it's going to get worse or not. 6 Gilaks suddenly woke up one morning and attacked the Creckle. I will say that our friends, the Creckle here, are very well equipped, and were more prepared for this than I suspected that they would be, so they were able to get themselves out of danger, but Tumbleweed here lost one of his kin to the attack. So the Creckle have taken it upon themselves to restrain and keep these Gilaks isolated.
I see. And is there anything notable about this island? Because the places that the hags have seemed to follow, at least in our experience, are places that aren't very well known at all, but have something special about them. The last place we traveled to, they had access to the Fey Line. The Fey Line being basically kind of a doorway to another world, another dimension.
I wouldn't say there's anything special about Glavio. It is just a dried up rock in the Gastaltian Sea, from what I know. I mean, we have a very pretty canyon, as you can see, and she starts to gesture
It is
around.
pretty.
There is the Gallant Peak, the mountain. The Pillars of Salt. They look nice. Besides that, we don't contribute to the Archipeladian commerce because we don't have any natural resources here. I guess that's what makes this place a good place for us to live. Because we as Gilaks and the Creckle, we know how to live in a place like this.
I turn to Timothy and Sherman as a quick aside. I'm concerned that the thing that's valuable about this island is the people. And I'm afraid that maybe they're trying to use them as thralls. turning back to Harisha, I say, so the people that have been affected, have they visited some part of the island? Or is it just very random when it happens to them?
Yes, they were some of our greatest sandbuck hunters. So oftentimes they would be out further in the island hunting. And I never put that together myself, come to think of it. Nobody who stays in Oskal's refuge full time was affected.
Is there anyone else out on a hunting party right now?
Yes, there are hunters that are out right now. We can't really afford to not be hunting.
So I would say when they return, keep an eye on them. But maybe we need to get some hunters that are willing to take us out to where they would go.
If you are to stay and investigate, then we'll need you to,
And Tumbleweed perks up and goes,
stay out of trouble.
in like a woman's voice.
Yes.
I mean, the only kind of trouble we get into is good trouble, right? I mean, yeah.
Sherman looks at Timothy with a look that just says, no thieving.
Timothy gets very squinty eyes.
Not that I've seen you thieve before.
There is the issue of the presence of the Apostleship.
Oh, yes, the Apostleship.
Oh, well, they're not gonna come in here because that boat's really big. So, you know, the big Apostleship, it's too big to come down the canyon. Plus, it's a boat. So, they sent us, so we should be the only ones coming down. And if we're able to get everything all sorted for you, you don't have to worry about them coming out.
Bernice rings out a really loud chime.
Hey!
Would I know what that chime means?
It's just like, hey, to get your attention.
Was she trying to get my attention, or?
Yeah, she kind of was trying to cut you off. And then she turns around and grabs a rock, and she starts to etch into the ground. Report back to Califran, ?
Yeah.
And then she wipes it clean, and then she says, these people don't pay taxes.
Timothy nudges Flowerkraut and Sherman to say something.
Wait, Bernice, are you trying to extort taxes out of these people? Is that why we're here?
She kind of huffs and leans back up against the wall and crosses her arms again and looks at you.
In Sherman's voice, Timothy goes, heroes. And then in Flowerkraut's voice, here to help.
Flowerkraut's like, fuck, I haven't been paying my taxes either.
And then Timothy goes and kicks a rock.
The Creckle are not going to be happy knowing that the Apostleship are aware. I don't suspect the Gilaks will either, but again, we don't contribute to the commerce. We don't have resources. We don't have goods that we produce and send to other islands. We just live here. We've always said that there was a case for us if we were to ever be found, that we're not hurting anyone by living here. We just are living.
Yeah, they're not hurting anyone, just living on an island by themselves.
Timothy looks over at Bernice and doesn't have is gonna fill in the gaps with random voices, but he'll be like, if
the Apostleship
wants our help,
then
we will help them first.
Tumbleweed looks at Timothy with wide eyes, and he goes, Echo!
Damn, Timothy, that's hardcore. I didn't know you could. I mean, I knew all along. I knew all along that you were an eloquent mimicker. Because that's who you are. Anyway, it really sounds like these people are upholding the tenets of Tritherion to the fullest. They're living a liberated lifestyle. They are living free and simple lives, but they're living in a way where they don't have to feel conscripted to some monetary government I'm not good at politics, as we've discovered with Sir Galago, or Lord Galago. But yeah, I really feel like I really like what y'all are all doing here. So I don't know about them, but I'm definitely willing to help you any way that I can. And he looks at Bernice like there's definitely like a bureaucracy line between Pal's mission and the Apostleship mission statement right now, and it is being very clearly drawn in the sand.
as it is clearly being drawn in the actual sand.
Yeah, it's being drawn in the actual sand. Roll a perception or a persuasion check, Sherman.
So I'm going to use my channel divinity for Emissary of Peace for the next 10 minutes.
Okay.
So that's going to give me an additional +5 to persuasion checks. So that's a +9.
Okay.
All right, let's see what we can do
The
here.
first roll in months. Let it be good. Treat us well, dice lords.
Which die do I do? A real one, maybe? Yes. This calls for a real die. Well, that's not bad. That's 21.
Oh, man. All right, Bernice is going to roll a charisma saving throw. Whew, she rolled a 19.
wow.
It's almost like our life experiences are vastly different, and we feel very strongly about our belief systems.
So there's this awkward silence after you give this impassioned speech to Bernice, and she's just staring at you. And then she looks at Tumbleweed, she looks at Hrisha, she looks back at Sherman, and then she goes down into the sand and she writes, I will hold off reporting to Califran. And then she puts until later.
That's good enough for me for now, I suppose.
And then she wipes it clean and she puts, Sherman, it's my job. And then she wipes that clean.
I guess that's where our jobs differ a little bit. But I'm still happy to have you here with us anyway.
Let me go clear the wind with everyone here.
Clear the wind?
It's
No,
gonna...
Flowerkraut, don't. Not here. Not now.
She says, I will have a quick word, and then I think you'll be okay to be here in Oskal's refuge. Flowerkraut, was it? She looks at you.
Oh, yeah.
You
That's me.
mentioned gold. Most certainly we like gold here, and we
Timothy's
have
sweating.
things to offer if you so need services or goods. So give me a moment. And she like scurries out of the slot canyon.
Cool, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you guys want to get a beer, go shopping? Who knows what we're gonna find out in that desert?
With what gold?
Get a beer and go shopping.
Timothy, I saw you give Chitin gold.
You saw nothing of the sort.
Echo! He wide-eyed looks at Timothy again.
He talked to him in the beginning, right?
he
Can I do some sort of insight to what Tumbleweed is referring to when he's mentioning Echo?
Yeah, go ahead and roll it.
Could I, because I was with a different flock, obviously not ones that would refer to them as Creckles, but would I get any sort of bonus or benefit to this roll beyond just the +3?
The DC would be lower.
That's a 17.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. So while your flock didn't refer to it as this, you know that some people who have dealt or perhaps lived among Kenku in the past refer to the mimicry skill as Echo. And so he's basically saying that he's impressed with the amount of Echo that you have.
Aww.
Oh yes, our buddy Timothy has a lot of people talk to him, so he's got a lot of echoes in there. That's for sure.
You guys, I just thought of something before our friend comes back. I rummage in my duffel bag and pull out the arcane focus conch that was the last remaining item that the hag had. If there's someone here that might be able to cast identify on this thing, maybe we can figure out what it does. But I am a bit afraid that maybe it has been used to track us.
Well, I suppose it's better we find out sooner rather than later.
Agreed. I turned to Bernice. And I'm sorry if that was the case, and that's why we got caught in that sea scuffle back there.
So while you're saying this, Bernice walks up to you, Flower, and she puts a hand on your shoulder, and she you can't ever really see their the Apostleship disciples' mouths because they've got that mask over them. But you can see that in her eyes, she's got kindness in her eyes, and she just with her other hand taps the sigil of Miriam on her armor, and kind of giving you that feeling of it's okay. We found where Miriam is, in you, and so. She doesn't seem to blame you guys if in fact that conch is creating something of a threat to where you guys are.
The thing is, if they don't have somebody that can identify what this is or what it's doing, I'm not sure how comfortable I am keeping it. And of course, I'll bring it up to Califran too. If he says to ditch it, we can ditch it.
While they're talking, Timothy was having a mild stroke back there. Anytime the mention of gold or lack thereof, he is going to attempt a sleight of hand check to put a couple gold pieces in Sherman's pouch unnoticed.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, Sherman, what is your passive perception? Because you are actively talking...
he's distracted.
13.
Yep. Yeah, he's not actively perceiving, so this is just going to be a passive thing, so...
So that's a 13, yeah.
Nat 20. That's a 24.
Still got it, Timothy.
I still got them feathery fingers.
Slippy.
How much money do you put in Sherman's pouch?
How much money do I have?
Well, he crit, so I think he accidentally puts it all in there.
He's like, this is easy. And he just keeps putting coins in.
Okay, because Timothy is still struggling with this whole concept. He is willing to give like his services, he's willing to give his moral direction, but when it comes to money, something that he has never really had in his lifetime, this is still very difficult for him to do. So Aaron, help me. Is there something that I could roll that would make this more up to fate than up to Timothy's own consciousness?
Yeah, so I would say that in the short amount of time that you have to perform this, basically it's a handful because you're literally walking past him and just like sliding it in there, and also the coins are making no sound dropping into his pouch.
Feathery fingers.
I would say roll 2d20, add them together, and that's how many coins you drop in his pouch.
Let's do it. Wow, I rolled another nat 20 and a 14. So Timothy sneaks in 34 gold coins into Sherman's bag unnoticed.
Oh my gosh.
Can I do a passive perception check too?
Well, your passive is kind of locked in. What is your? Well, he rolled a nat 20, so.
Oh, okay. So that goes for me as well.
Yeah, since you were also in the conversation, there wasn't any active perceiving going on.
So add 34 gold to your pouch.
So he's just a sneaky boy.
This has been an absolutely gilding conversation, Flowerkraut.
Indubitably.
I just somehow imagine Timothy's behind them, like the scene from the first Indiana Jones movie where he's like weighing the sandbag. And he's like trying to figure out how much weight can I get away with here? Unnoticed.
Bernice seems like she is up to investigate, up to figuring out what's going on, but hasn't let go of the fact that there's people in Archipelagia that are not contributing to the greater commerce slash, the funding that goes into Stella Maris. Basically that Archipelagia is a place for people, for refugees, but for those people to also come together and create a nation together. And so you guys can tell that, and some of you know the Apostleship more than others, but you know that the Apostleship is really there to enforce the laws of Stella Maris across all the islands. And, Bernice is trained in exactly that. So while she seems to be convinced, and Sherman is her good friend, that there is a good cause to be met here, that whole thing can't completely be forgotten. So she's not, gonna go running off to Califran right now and let him know. And honestly, you guys can imagine that Califran is probably not going to be in the position where you guys are right now to start, laying down the law when you have, a Fracken chasing after you and this Sir Lunox. So it's definitely coming second in priority, if not lower than that. Harisha comes running around the corner again, and she says, "All right, they understand that you're here to help. Some of them are not as happy as others about it, but you are free to come into Oskal's Refuge if you wish, and perhaps we can speak a little bit later after I'm off my shift."
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you bridging the gap for us. I know it's a bit of a shock that, I guess from the sounds of things, that anyone showed up here.
Tumbleweed kind of jumps up and down in excitement, and then he grabs Timothy by the hand and starts pulling him through the canyon. Harisha runs back in, and you see her kind of get back to work at the cantina. And everyone, you're getting some side eyes here or there, but for the most part, it seems like everyone's just kind of ignoring your presence in terms of like not being alerted. You guys look around Oskal's Refuge. There's not much in the form of buildings here. There's scaffolding built along the canyon walls that seem to house draped tents and places where people live. But there's not really any indoors when it comes to this place. Everything is very rustic.
Is it like a bazaar?
Yeah. So
Cool.
there's definitely like hides that are drawn across the top in certain areas, creating more shade for when the sun is directly above head. But you can tell that as the sun's moving throughout the day, they are in the shade for the most part. People sitting around the cantina having drinks. You can see lots of people processing the today's hunt or yesterday's hunt as they're tanning skins or they're grinding horns, from the sand bucks that they hunted the day before. And it does seem that it's very much segregated. You see mostly Creckle, most of the Kenku living on the left side of the canyon. The structures that they live in vary a little bit differently from what the Gilaks are living in. The Creckle seem to be able to climb up on the side of the cliff a lot easier, so they have like higher dwellings up there, while the Gilaks seem to have built more of their places out of stone. Some areas have stone walls, but then the top is just a hide skin drawn over it. And so looking around, you also notice that on the Gilak side, there's kind of a production area again where they're turning the animals that they hunt and the things that they catch here into products that they can use. And you even see that there is some kind of rudimentary smith that's putting weapons, bone javelins and bone knives and leather armors and stuff together. And he's this big, kind of like, he's probably the biggest Gilak you've seen, lumbering about and working on things. But besides that, you don't really see anything else in terms of, there's no inn. They don't have people traveling through Oskal's Refuge to stay. Yeah, so what do you guys do?
Do we want to take turns?
I'm definitely eyeing the smith. Also, quick question, just out of curiosity, kind of like how the Gilaks, I assume, would be like visually different from most other lizard folk. Is there a visual differentiation between the variety of Kenku? Is there like a visual difference to the Creckle?
No, the from what you can tell, just based off the conversations you've had, is that the Creckle is more of a organizational name than it is a racial name. The Kenku look like Kenku. You don't see any Kenku that you recognize. You know that there are other flocks about.
That was my next question.
Yeah. You know that there are other flocks, and then Kenku are very nomadic people, so it's not uncommon to just run into a complete group of Kenku you've never met before. But you do notice that the Kenku, while they do have mimicry like any other Kenku, they use that mimicry when they're communicating with the Gilaks. But when they communicate with each other, it's a mix of hand gestures and squawks. Actually, Timothy, you would be the only one that would have any kind of knowledge in this. So give me a history check.
I am rubbish at history, so let's see what happens. That's not bad. I'm rolling good today. 14?
14. So the Creckle are speaking to each other in Thieves' Cant, which is a nonverbal language that thieves use. And while you assume that not all of these Kenku are thieves, they have taught each other Thieves' Cant in order to easier communicate with one another and probably to keep their language within their group. But you can hear, like, you hear people talking in the cantina, and you just hear, like, a cacophony of different voices coming out of all of the Creckle that are sitting at the bar, because that's what they're using. They're using all their mimicry skills to get their point across, or what they want to order. And of course, it does seem like you hear a lot of Gilak voices, because even the Creckle are using them. You do notice as you walk past the cantina that this isn't a typical bar that just has a bunch of bottles of liquor. They have strung up, hanging from the bar, these scaled worm things.
What?
That they're the size of like a small dog or a cat. Basically, they're just hanging, obviously dead. And you see, a Gilak walk up to the bar, order something, and the bartender grabs this scaled worm thing and squeezes it into a cup, and then hands it to him.
That looks slimy yet satisfying.
Oh.
So where are you guys going?
Sherman walks up to one of the stone walls of the canyon, supporting one of the bazaar tents, and he pats it. And he's like, "That's a good load-bearing wall." That's a little carpentry joke right there for you.
Oh yeah.
My God.
Real dog the builder over here.
So I feel like definitely interested in whatever Timothy's got to do. I know we want to try to find somebody in the bazaar that is maybe of magical means that might be able to identify our thing. But Sherman saw something really gross, and that's what he's going to want to investigate when that time comes.
Shall we split up for maybe some reconnaissance / satisfying our individual interests?
Yeah, Sherman, you go into the bar right now, or shall we all meet there after?
Unless anybody needs my help, I think I'm gonna go mingle with the locals and maybe try to gather some information.
Cool. Buy us a drink while you're at it, huh? Anything that looks good.
Okay, I'll see if I can do some dishes or something. Maybe they'll let us have some drinks.
Well, Sherman, roll perception.
Okay. Hold on, I need to roll perception on where I put my dice.
Someone brush his bag, hit his bag so it jingles.
like River City Ransom, you just come up to me with a tire iron, and I'm like, oh, barf, barf.
Somebody hits Sherman and he drops money. Barf.
Oh, it fell off the table. Perception, 21.
Oh man. Yeah, you realize you are jingling a little bit more as you walk for some reason. You haven't heard that before.
Oh, I thought my money didn't jingle. I thought it folded, but okay, that's definitely odd. I reach deep into where I feel money, and it's not in a pocket. Maybe that's why I couldn't find it before. It's just stuffed deep into my thick fur. Oh, geez, how'd that get there?
How did 34 gold coins sit snugly into the fur?
Timothy shoved a bunch of coins into your tail, and it's just jingling as you...
Man, I really need a D-shed.
Yeah, but you discover your money.
Oh, okay. Sherman goes to saunter on over to the cantina area.
Okay, you sit down at an empty chair in the cantina, and you kind of get some looks.
I wave to. What are you having? Oh, hey, what are you having?
What do you
having?
Big Gilak bartender walks up to you.
Welcome to Oskal's Refuge. What can I offer you, friend?
Oh, howdy there, sir.
What are you buying?
Oh well, what are you selling?
Yes.
He opens his cloak, and there's a bunch of those worms just hanging on the inside.
Oh, I don't mind if I do. I really... It's been a long morning. I could go for some grub.
Well, the only thing we've got here is, gubbly bubbly.
Gubbly bubbly? That sounds amazing. I'll buy it at a high price.
God damn it. Oh, I'm sorry. Miriam, damn it.
So he puts a mug down on the table in front of you and grabs one of those hanging grubs and just squeezes it, and you see that it looks like basically there's a liquid inside of this grub that is fermenting. And so as he squeezes it out, you notice that it actually does bubble. It's got a little bit of froth to it on the top, and he slides it over to you.
Oh, I see why the grubbly is bubbly. Then that's a good nomenclature.
I assume you've got gold.
Yeah, I actually just found some.
Don't say that. He's gonna think you stole it.
What's the damage? Or not damage? That doesn't sound right. What's the how much of gold does this do?
Well, you can get gold, huh? Let me see. You can get 10 of these for a gold piece.
How many people are in the bar right now, or in the cantina right now?
There's 11.
Okay. I'm going to give the gentleman 2 gold pieces and tell him I'm buying around for everyone and he can keep the change as a tip.
Everyone looks over at you, and then you just see all of these kind of half scowls turn to big, toothy lizard smiles,
Ooh,
as well as the Creckle on the other side. Of course, you see that they're all very interested after you talked about just finding some gold, and they perk up, and you hear one of them go, "Well, how about that?" And then you see the bartender starts pulling out a bunch more of those grubs, starts hanging them up strings from the ceiling, from the hide above him, and he just starts pouring gubbly bubbly for everybody, and they all, this dog's not so bad, and then they all start getting back into conversation. You definitely lighten the mood in the bar.
Aww.
Yeah.
He is going to lose that gold so fast. Timothy says out loud for Flowerkraut to potentially hear.
What?
Oh, nothing.
Knowing Sherman, you're probably right.
So as you stopped to kind of observe or just to overhear what was going on in the bar, Timothy, Tumbleweed pulls on your hand and you hear him say, "Come with me, little one."
So precious.
In Hersha's voice, Tumbleweed.
He smiles up at you and he points at the smith and is kind of like pulling you over in that direction. He seems like super excited to show you all of Oskal's refuge. So, he's pointing at things and he's saying things, about, in other voices about this or that, and talking about the Creckle a little bit here in sparse sentences. And you get...
Have I seen him use the thieves' cant?
Not yet. And you guys get over to where the smith is. And the smith, he's big, kind of a big hulking Gilak. He turns around. You see that he's crafting some bone javelins. And you notice that he's got this very pronounced bottom, like jaw, but his head kind of peaks up to kind of a small cap where he wears a skull cap on the top.
Cute.
And he saunters over to the front of the smith where you're standing, and he goes, "Oh, how you doing? New face in town."
Crunk? No, sorry.
No, my name's Brock. How you doing? I'm the smith here in town.
Oh, can this man please be a part of our adventure forever? Oh,
hey, Tumbleweed, how you doing? I see you brought your friends over. Caused quite the commotion, but I guess everyone's okay with you being here. Is there anything that old Brock can do for you?
in Flower Kraut's voice, here to help.
Oh, great.
Got anything better than these? And like Timothy holds up his daggers.
Oh, those are some nice daggers. You mind if I take a look?
In Timothy's head, was that my actual voice or am I mimicking something? I don't even know anymore.
We'll find out in 10 to 12 episodes when someone else says that later.
Brock takes your feather daggers. How many of those do you have? Like 2?
2.
Okay.
I believe. I think so. 2 is all I have listed, so we'll go with that.
This is some fine craftsmanship. So, what can I do for you, new face?
Timothy looks at kind of his worn attire. He looks at his daggers, and the only word he can think of that wouldn't sound suspicious is just upgrade.
Oh, of course, yeah. Upgrade. We help the Creckle out all the time. Well, let's see. I got just the thing. And he opens up a cabinet, and you see that he's got a bunch of like armor that's fitted perfectly for Kenku. And you assume that he helps out the Creckle since they are some of the hunters here in town. And he starts pointing. He's like, all right, we got sandbuck armor. We've got sandbuck studded armor for the stud in you. Let's see here. Now, unless you're looking for something metal, I don't got any metal.
The house special.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'll just get you... You know, you look like a stud. I'm gonna get you some of this stud armor right here. You see this? And he puts it down. Finest sandbuck craftsmanship, leather, and we even grind down their horns. Put the studs in there. And so you see that armor he's got in front of him is not your typical, like, leather armor with metal studs. It looks like the horns of a sandbuck have been grinded down or chopped and grinded into stones that were then woven into the armor itself.
What color are sandbucks?
They're very tan.
What in the hell is a sandbuck? Or actually, pardon me, what in the fuck is a sandbuck?
Well, yuck. What is a sandbuck?
Yuck. What is that, Flower Kraut?
You're looking at it, and then Tumbleweed kind of pulls on your shirt, and then points over to another part of like this whole processing area of Oskal's Refuge, where you see that there are some sandbucks hanging for like skinning and for butchering and stuff like that. Basically, think of a tan goat that is the size of like a tiger. Very big goats. And they've got, nasty, gnarled horns. So he's pointing into an area where the animals are first processed, and then it looks like Brock gets the tanned hides and the skins and the horns and anything that he's going to be turning into more tools and weapons and stuff like that for the hunters to use.
So Timothy like pats the armor and he smirks, and overhearing Sherman, he goes, "What's the damage?"
Oh, you can take a lot of damage in this.
Oh, that doesn't sound right. How much does gold do, sir?
Oh, yeah, well, this is probably one of the best sets I've made. But you're a new face. And, feeling pretty good about you, stud. So, 50 gold pieces will do it.
The Kenku was too stunned to speak.
Timothy covers Tumbleweed's ears and then just starts talking.
Yeah, just like, hold on.
I feel like Tumbleweed's the only one that actually has heard Timothy's full voice when he first met us.
He still thinks it's an echo, which is great for me.
Just use Flowerkraut's intimidating voice. Or Laminaria's.
In Sherman's voice, Timothy goes, hero, and then Flowerkraut's here to help.
You see that Tumbleweed also kind of like looks at Brock and gives him like puppy eyes.
We're gonna do a Puss in Boots scenario. We both get very big, round, lovable eyes.
All right. Give me a persuasion check with advantage because Tumbleweed is providing the help action.
The first one's an 18. We're gonna go with the 18.
All right.
The other one was an 8.
Brock is gonna roll a charisma saving throw. Oh, he rolled so bad. And you just see the tears start to well up a little bit in Brock's eyes. Oh, couldn't possibly. Oh, please forgive me. You need this so much more. You know what? Sell it to you for 35.
After the face, Timothy looks proudly at at Tumbleweed, puts his hand on his shoulder, and be like, "It's something for the boy."
Oh, I don't know. Little Tumbleweed here, he's a little young to be out hunting, don't you think?
Is there like a slingshot or
Give
something?
him a slingshot. I was thinking about a slingshot. I'm not there. I'm not there. Slingshot.
A slingshot, huh? You know, could probably work on one of those. I don't think I've actually made one before. But, yeah. Little Tumbleweed, we'll get you a slingshot. How's that sound? Tumbleweed jumps up and down, excited. You pay him 35?
I will give him... Let's see, how much would a slingshot be? I'll give him 37.
Okay.
Hands wavering as I let go of that gold.
Okay.
Is he used to the Kenku way of having a hard time parting with gold?
By the way, let me just do this quick because I feel like I don't offer it up enough. Because of the perfection in using Sherman's lines from the bar in the same kind of scenario, Timothy, give yourself inspiration.
Ooh. I like that. Is that just something I can hold on to later?
Yeah. And I'm sorry if you guys haven't gotten inspiration enough in this campaign, but essentially, Janelle, if you don't know what that is, you have a little inspiration box on your character sheet, and if you can only have 1 point of inspiration at any one time, but what inspiration does is if you don't like the outcome of a roll, you can use inspiration and re-roll it.
Ooh.
It comes in a pinch.
Very cool.
Shaking feathery hands, he actually grabs one hand with his other hand to brace it and slowly lets the gold slip from his feathery fingers.
Much obliged. Here you go, stud. And he slides the armor over to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you let me know if you need anything else.
I'm picturing Timothy as a very spiky bird.
I think of almost like, you know, those batons, the studded batons that I think, like, what was it, Aztecs used. I feel that's what I think of when I think of the studs on the armor, but like made of antler pieces.
Yeah, so it's not just like all the ends of an antler or horn. It's multiple pieces that are grinded down to basically be stones, like hard, just circles, and that those are woven in. So it looks It looks like a typical studded leather armor set, except that it's much more tan in color.
Cool. Okay, so I shouldn't draw Timothy as a giant, like, spiky little porcupine bird.
Oh no, that's the spiked armor. That's probably somewhere else. That's in the Hedgehog Island.
Oh, I can't wait to see them.
There are lots of
No,
green
you won't
hills,
be able to see them. They're moving way too fast.
Oh.
chemical plants, casinos.
All right, so I guess I got myself some new armor.
Yes, so you have studded leather armor now. Let's cut back to Sherman. Sherman, you're at the bar, and it hasn't been that long, so technically your Emissary of Peace is still active.
Uh-huh.
So what would you like to do? So you get a couple Helix coming up and just like patting you on the back real hard, like jolting you forward a little bit. You haven't quite had a chance to sip your gubbly bubbly.
Well, I mean, that's secretly the number one reason why I'm here is because I really need to get a gullet full of this stuff. So I'm gonna raise my mug into the air and be like, and I'm gonna down it, and probably do a Constitution saving throw. I'm gonna guess.
Okay, so you raise your mug up into the air and you get a lot of response from others at the cantina. They all raise their mugs in the air and some of the Kenku delay their awe just for a second so that their awe sounds just like your awe sounded, and then you throw it back. You were not aware that something could have a viscosity and carbonation at the same time. It slides down your throat, but bubbles the whole way down.
Ooh.
And it's actually got kind of a misty flavor to it.
It's thick. It's really thick.
Whiskeys.
Go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw.
That's actually not bad. That's gonna be an 18.
Oh yeah. So being Sherman Jeopard, being a dog and, enjoying the nasty already, you do get a hint of like rotten egg in it a little bit, but it's also kind of like covered up by this refreshing mist. It's like the morning dew sitting on a rotten egg and bubbling down your throat.
And
actually, you really enjoy it.
Brimstone on an early morning. That's something special. Well, I think that I will be taking a little longer to savor this one. It's a thick boy.
Orisha tells us that you are supposed to be okay with you being here. What brings you to Oskal's Refuge?
Oh well, I am a member of PAL, so I am here to help. I heard from Harisha that there was a bit of a strange occurrence, that some folks that went out hunting came back and they weren't quite the same, and they did something that they normally wouldn't do, and we're trying to maybe get to the bottom of it so that it doesn't happen again and everyone can, cohabitate and go back to as normal as y'all can.
Yeah, that would be nice. The Creckle over here won't let us see them, but can't really blame them for that. It's I don't know what's gotten into those idiots. My brother is among them. I would love to go give him a good punch in the face for what he pulled, but I guess having third party come in and try to figure this out might not be the worst. Hey, you don't seem like a bad fella. Pal, you said?
Yeah, we've been known to do some peer mediation in the past, so I'm glad we're here.
Yeah. Well, good to have you. What was your name again?
Sherman. My name's Sherman Jeopard.
Sherman.
Actually, it's just Sherman one time. I just say it twice, sometimes for emphasis.
Well, Sherman,
I don't have a middle name.
my name is Sarkis, and, do what you can for us, alright? But, for the sake of everyone around here, do it fast.
Yeah, I kind of had that feeling, huh? You know what? I mean, I don't blame everybody, but everybody seems a little on edge. Is there... Do you know of anybody that we could talk to that might be the easiest way to at least get to interview the prisoners or the captives?
Well, you're gonna have to talk to one of the Creckle. None of us Gilaks are allowed out there.
Is there a Creckle that is almost as nice as the little fella?
Oh, Tumbleweed?
Yeah, Tumbleweed. He's a good boy.
Little guy's
I'm
got
a
a
good
heart
boy.
of gold. Yeah, sure Tumbleweed probably could take you out there himself.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Well, my friends are gonna come back here, and if you want a real dose of entertainment, because I know it seems like it's been a rough couple of days, wait until the other two try this drink, because I'm really gonna try to persuade them to do it.
Never had gubbly bubbly before, huh?
Oh heavens, no, not. Well, I don't know. Maybe the wrinkly one, but definitely not the Kenku that I travel with.
You hear
Well.
"fuck you" ringing in your mind, Sherman.
Well, it's not the only thing we've got here. We also make food. We got some. You see there's a grill like in the back of the
Ooh.
cantina. And he goes, we've got shish grubab. And he picks up a stick and it just has one of those worms on it.
Everything is just the grubs.
And we've got grumbo and he pulls up a pot and it's just a stew made from the grubs.
This is an unfortunate existence.
Grumbo.
Did you happen to have any grumbalaya?
It's a good idea. Well, Sherman, since we've got a good thing going here, if you wouldn't mind coming back and letting me know what you find out about those Gilaks that they're keeping, I would be much appreciated. Some of us Gilaks are a little bit worried.
Oh, definitely understand. I'll have you know that transparency is one of the credos of which I was... hold on, I pull up the pamphlet. Hold on, what does it say? We will be transparent in all we do. That is what we swear to you. And I point at him with my whole paw so that it's not rude.
You notice that a lot of the other Gilaks that are sitting around you are also very intently listening to everything. They're smiling. They're kind of raising their drink to you and drinking the gubbly bubbly. And Sarkis just kind of smiles and nods and says,
Well, you're a good person, Sherman. Let us know what you can do for us.
Don't worry, I'll be sure to report any findings to you. Hopefully I can put your minds at ease.
so, Timothy, you get your daggers back from...
I was just about to ask, because the last time we checked, he was like, oh yeah. Oh, these are nice.
Yeah, he just puts them back behind his counter and just ignores the
Wow,
conversation.
this is wonderful armor. Wait a second.
So you get your daggers back, you get your armor.
And now I am armor class of 14.
Ooh.
And he promises to look into making a slingshot for your little buddy.
Timothy nudges Tumbleweed's shoulder and be like,
You hold him to that now.
He nods at you and tries to think of something to echo, but he can't think of anything.
Aw. He's so cute.
He looks at you and he's got this admiration in his eyes and he goes, Echo! All right, so looking around Oskal's Refuge, there's not much more to it than just people living. You do notice that there are devices, or I guess capture buckets and stuff like that that are above all of the skins that are providing the shade, and you see that there are kind of like troughs that would be used for any rainwater to be captured into different reservoirs around the camp. It looks like they get their water from rain, or at least that's one of the sources. They get their food from the animals they're catching, whether it's these grubs or it's the sandbucks. Flowerkraut, you actually notice that there is another place that's on the Creckle side of it, where someone is crafting like jewelry and stuff out of the sandbucks and other animals that they catch. From what you guys can, assume, the sandbucks being these huge goat-type creatures, they look like that is primarily what the Gilaks hunt. The Creckle seem to be the ones that are capturing these grubs. All right, so Sherman, was there anything else you wanted to discuss or talk to anybody about over at the bar?
I think I got the intel that I need, so I'll just wait for everyone to reconvene.
All right. So, Flowerkraut, where would you like to go?
Is Bernice with me?
Yeah, she's with you.
Cool beans. All right, yeah. I'm asking Bernice to keep her eye out for someone who looks knowledgeable about magic and jewelry, so that we can have someone cast an identify spell. And also I'm like, hey girl, wait, before she says hey girl, Flowerkraut is going to tap her hair and her robe and see if any money falls out like it magically did for Sherman. And it doesn't. And she's like, hey girl, do you think you could spot me a little money in case this information gets a little pricey?
She looks at you and kind of looks around, then with the slightest nod, she seems okay with the idea, but also a little frustrated that no one has money.
I mean, like, I totally would have money, but I spent so much on my taxes last year that I
She gives you a She gives you a big thumbs up.
She believes it. Okay, let's see. What is it? Like a perception or an investigation check to see if I can spot a good-looking prospect?
Let's do a perception check.
Oakley dokley.
And I'll have Bernice roll one as well.
17.
Oh, that's the same as she got. So, so you're wandering around Oskal's Refuge, and you're getting some stares. People are getting out of your way, especially with Bernice walking with you. Some people are kind of ducking back into their little hovels. But you do see, on the Creckle side, a tent that has like the sigil of like a moon above it. And being who you are, Flowerkraut, you can only assume that this is probably some kind of fortune teller or somebody who works in the arts of the mystic that is in here.
Oh my god, I want my fortune told. but no, more important things. Okay. Shall we head over to this one, Bernice? Does this look good? That looks good to me.
She shrugs.
Hello there. Hi.
So you open up and walk in, and there is a female Kenku sitting cross-legged on a pillow, and you hear her say,
Oh, yes, come sit down.
Okie dokie.
and it's this very manly voice coming out of this woman, and you notice that she must have spent a lot of time with whoever's voice she's mimicking, because it seems like every line she delivers is the same person.
Oh.
Tell me about yourself.
Oh, myself, I mean. Just your average law-abiding, tax-paying citizen of Archipeldia. I'm actually looking to help out with the situation that's going on here. But before I do that, I do have this item, and I was wondering if you might be able to identify if there's any magical attributes, a curse, a charm, I don't know. And I pull out the conch from the Laminaria battle.
She holds her hands out to take it from you, and she places it in the center of like this little circle that you guys are sitting in. She looks up and sees Bernice, and Bernice kind of hesitantly, she was standing at first, but then she hesitantly sits down, and you hear a very familiar line come out of this woman go,
Oh, yes, the Apostleship.
Bernice rolls her eyes, and then the Kenku turns her attention back to the conch, and she says,
I mean, that's what I felt too.
And then she waves her hands, and she kind of stops, and she goes,
We should discuss payment.
Okie dokie.
Bernice rolls her eyes and kind of gives her this look of like, the gestures, how much? She taps the ground 5 times. Bernice pulls out 5 gold coins, holds it in her hand, and gives her a look.
Yes.
Hands the gold over. Begins going back to waving her hands over it. And then you see her actually begin to cast a spell. And you can tell, Flowerkraut, as magic has been something that you guys have only seen in a couple situations so far on your adventures. Because any magic that you have seen has been magic that is not tied to Miriam. Whether it was Lily casting druid spells, or you and Timothy casting through, your patron or your instrument, she is casting true arcane magic. And she does something, and you see the spell pop over the conch. And then she rests her hand on it. And then she opens her mouth, and kind of like you see that she's looking for the right echo. She hesitates, and then she just reaches over and grabs a slate, like a piece of rock that's flat. She grabs out a piece of charcoal, and then she starts writing down. And she writes arcane focus. And then she holds that out to you. And then she writes not cursed, holds that out to you. And then she writes no ties.
So can I do an Arcana check or an insight check?
What would you like to find out?
I would like to know basically what exactly that means for us. Is it any danger? Are they able to trace us? Or is that what that means when you say no tethers, that it's not tracing us?
Yeah, go ahead and roll insight.
19.
Nice.
So you figure what she's trying to say here is that it's not attuned to anybody. For instance, you are attuned to your mortar and pestle, and as well as the cloak that you wear over your shoulders. Those are things that are innately tied to you, but that there's no ties to this conch.
Okay. And then does it do anything, or is it just a piece of jewelry?
You ask her that?
Yeah, so does this do anything, or is it just for looking stylish? Did we just pay 5 gold for a trinket?
Erases the chalk, the charcoal off of the slate, and writes, used to channel magic. And then she thinks for a moment and writes again, could be associated with someone, but not directly tethered.
So what she's saying is it could be worn and used to help channel magic.
That is a question one must seek within.
Okay. Well, I guess there's no harm in keeping it then, huh?
Thank you for your patronage.
Oh, thank you for your help. Bernice, what do you say? You want to get your fortune told?
She just reaches over to the piece of charcoal and writes no. And then stands up and Bernice walks out.
Okay. To the bar!
Okay, so you walk back to the bar. You see that Sherman's kind of been chatting away with the barkeep. You see there's a couple empty seats. Did you want to join him at the bar?
Heck yeah!
Flower, you got it.
Oh
Hi.
my gosh, you got started without us, didn't you?
Oh yeah. You gotta come over here and try one of these.
Oh my god, what the hell is that? That looks awesome.
Oh, it's called a grubbly bubbly, and I think that it's right up your alley.
Oh, great. Where's... Oh, hey, Timothy, over here!
Oh, yes.
Y'all be right there.
Amazing.
Tumbleweed says, I'm running as fast as I can.
And you're still so far away.
So Timothy, you make it over to the bar. You've got your armor and everything, and it looks like Sherman's been doing a good job of improving the relationships with everyone around here.
Well, should we have a drink and what is this good smelling food? Is that frickin' Grumbo over there?
Oh yeah. They got grumbo, they got shish kebabs, they got
Shishka grubs. Oh my god, a delicacy.
So they have the shish grubab, they have the gubbly bubbly drink, and they have the grumbo stew.
Is there any bread or like a wafer?
All of the Gilaks to start laughing at you.
Do I see other Kenku like partaking of all this stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, we'll give it a shot, I guess.
Are you adverse to grubs, Timothy?
I don't know. No, fine. Everything's fine. Let's just
come on, don't worry. It's not like this one's gonna try to bite you.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
How much for each of us to have a drink and a food?
So a single gold piece would pay for all of that.
Oh yeah. Then I take a grubbly bubbly and I think I'll have some shish grub bob. No, I want grumbo.
All right, you get a bowl of grumbo, and you get a fresh squeezed gubbly bubbly.
Oh my god, this looks so nasty, but cool.
Hey, well, careful. Don't say that before he has it.
And what would Timothy like?
I'll have a grubbly bubbly and a shish grub.
Okay, so they hand you a grub on a stick. You notice that these grubs are scaly, but the shish grubub has had the scales basically just peeled off, so it's just squishy meat.
It's just a big shrimp.
I am disgusted by this, so I'm gonna give a portion of mine to Tumbleweed and wait for him to eat it and see his reaction.
Oh man, Tumbleweed just devours his portion. Just
Bottoms up.
Flowerkraut did well on her con save or con check. She rolled 14 plus 1, so she's got a 15.
nice. Yep. So you get the same. It feels weird going down because it's like thick carbonation with that stinky egg, but yet kind of refreshing taste to it. Definitely something you've never tried before, but for some reason, all of those things together kind of work.
Ha, ew, ha, yum.
And then your grumbo, you're just, chunks of this grub pieces in there. There's not much for like vegetables because they don't really have vegetables here. So it's actually got pieces of sandbuck meat in it along with the grubs.
What did you say this was? A Constitution saving throw?
Yep.
Oh boy.
Do I want to re-roll that?
No. That's a 12.
12. Okay.
That could be worse.
At first, is this you chewing on the shish kebab?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so you're chewing on this, and the texture is just something very difficult to get over. But it is slimy yet satisfying.
Slimy yet satisfying.
And you're having one of the drinks as well, or just that?
Sure, why not?
All right, give me another con save.
There it is. That's a 7.
As Timothy goes to start the drink, I nudge or get the attention of Sarkis, and I was like, "This is what I was talking to you about. Watch this."
So yeah, it gets halfway down your throat before your gag reflex kicks in.
Do I have enough time to make it over like the balcony and just let loose the vomit of war?
You turn around and you're able just to let it all out, and everyone at the bar
lasts way longer than it should. Like, it already was done, but it just kept going anyways.
Everyone's having a good time listening to this and watching you, and
They're not disgusted.
no, not at all. They're just like, ah.
I think
One of the Creckle across the bar from you guys goes,
Come on now, be a man!
That was wonderful. That was great. I'm happy. This is good times we're having.
Sherman, are you gonna eat that?
Oh no, I don't. I really don't. I've had too much.
a bunch of the Creckles across the bar are totally laughing at this joke.
Let's see. I'm gonna ask the bartender. Oh, I guess I don't know his name yet.
Pardon me. Hi, my name is Flowerkraut. What's your name again, sir?
Sarkis.
Sarkis, do you need us to clean this up? We're so sorry.
It usually gets pecked clean afterwards, but feel free.
Oh no. All right, I'm shaping water and swooshing it out the door.
What water are you shaping?
Oh, frick. Is there no water in this place?
Not really.
It's all slug
He
juice.
doesn't have a sink tap?
Nope.
Okay, I'm kicking dirt over it. I'm just gonna kick dirt on top of it.
Oh, no, come. We don't waste food here in Oskal's Refuge.
Oh my god. Okay. I'm sorry. My bad. I need to study up on the culture here. Holy crap.
Risha, get over here.
Are those biscuits from the story arc? Ooh.
Timothy, now.
That really took a lot out of me.
Harisha runs over and she's got like a pail and some, she's basically like trying to clean up the mess. And she looks up at you guys and she's like, "You guys aren't making a scene, are you?"
I'm But it's a good scene.
Okay.
It's good. Everyone's laughing.
Yeah.
Everyone together is having a good old chuckle, like the good old days, I'm sure. And the good old days they're coming again. As soon as we figure this one out for you.
Okay. I just know that you guys are here because they made a special exception, okay? For Tumbleweed's sake, for my sake, just don't. I'll be off my shift soon, okay? Just behave yourself.
I feel like everyone looks really happy though. Sherman, whatever you did in here, you did a good job.
Oh, I learned from the best.
Who's that?
That's what you say. You say, "Oh, I learned from the best." Anytime you're good at something.
That like your mom?
No, it's just like the best. It's what I learned it from. I learned it from the best.
Tumbleweed tugs on Timothy a little bit, and you hear him say again, "Stay out of trouble," in a woman's voice.
You got it.
So, what's the plan, guys? Do you think we should get hunters to take us out to the desert? Should we talk to any of the people that were affected?
Interrogate the prisoners.
I guess we could do that.
Tumbleweed nods and goes,
Prisoners?
I was talking with the good old circus here, and I told him that I would go check in on the prisoners. So, Tumbleweed, would you be able to be a bit of an emissary for us and kind of bridge the gap between us and the rest of the Creckle over there?
He puts his hands on his hips, stands proud, puts his beak up in the air, and gives you a big feather up in the air.
Aw.
Hey, that's very rude.
Sherman.
Wrong
feather.
He then gestures over in the area that Hrisha's currently cleaning up at the bar, and then looks at you and gives you a shrug.
Hrisha?
Comes out of his mouth.
Oh, I guess she wouldn't be welcome, would she?
Tumbleweed kind of stamps on the floor a little bit, thinking,
Hrisha?
Do you want us to wait for Hrisha to be off their shift?
That might be a good idea, and maybe once we're finished talking with the prisoners, maybe she can find someone that's willing to take us out to the desert.
That would definitely be quite nice.
Tumbleweed nods.
Cool. Timothy, are you okay over there? You're still panting over the bar.
Feathery thumbs up.
What, Sherman, you're not going to comment on that one?
Oh, I'm used to what his feather up looks like. It's okay.
So it doesn't take too much longer before Hrisha rejoins you guys, and she's taken off her apron, and she's just got a normal leather skirt on, or leather, she's got these essentially like a tunic, but then leather strips that kind of hang from her waist down. You notice this, a lot of the Gilaks, they're all wearing some kind of sandbuck hides of some sort. And she says,
All right, so what's the plan? I overheard your friend Sherman here talking to the bartender about going out and seeing these people.
Yeah, you heard right. I think we're gonna make our way out there with Tumbleweed. Do you think in the meantime, unless you think you'd be welcome there, do you think in the meantime you could find someone who'd be willing to take us out to where the hunters have been going?
Oh, yeah, I suppose they're not going to want me coming anywhere near them. Yes, I'll do that. I'll ask around, and you can come back and tell me how they're doing. We're worried about them. Tumbleweed, you know the way, right?
Prisoners?
Yes, the prisoners. Yes. Well, I didn't know that you could just say yes. There's so many questions I've asked you, Tumbleweed. You could have just said yes, and that would have fixed everything. Yes. Okay, well, Tumbleweed seems to know where he's going, so you're in good hands.
You're cool, Hrisha. Where should we meet you when we come back?
This is as good a place as any.
All right, we'll hit the bar one more time before we shove off then. All right,
Yes.
shall we?
Yes.
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 Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
Can we get the whole bar chanting yes?
Yes, 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 yes,
roll,
yes.
Roll a group persuasion check.
How does that work?
Everybody rolls, and we basically.
What do we have to beat as a group?
You guys have to beat a 39 as a group.
Oh, wow. Okay. I threw 13 into the mix.
Tumbleweed's gonna roll too.
Okay. A 14.
All right, we're at 27.
I got a 22.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Even the Creckle are all mimicking the exact same sound that you guys are making, and you hear even like off in the distance, one of the Gilaks is just like, "What are we yesing again?" What
Sherman, you did a good job buttering these guys up. They're like all up in our corner right now.
You know, a little kindness goes a long way.
It's like, and in between every yes, there's a little chime from Bernice. Yes.
And with that chime, I'm just strumming like really hard power chords, like yes.
So you guys walk out of Oskal's refuge, and you see that the canyon is being very, relatively narrow where the settlement is for purposes of being the best place for shade, begins to open up as you move further into Glavio. The canyon also kind of begins to incline up, and so there's essentially a desert landscape in front of you, bound on the east and west by large canyon walls. And further as you walk with Tumbleweed, you start to see these stone pillars, rise up above everything, separated by maybe like 50 to 100 feet from each other. And as you guys are passing them up, Tumbleweed turns to all of you and in Trisha's voice says, "Salt pillars." And then you continue on looking around. You see a little desert rat scurry away into a burrow. And then on the other side, as you're walking by, you see one of those delicious grubs pop out of the ground, grab an insect, and then suck back into the ground again.
I could have sworn I heard that rat say eat shit.
Oh crap, you guys, I just remembered something.
Flowerkraut looks into her cloak, and there is a mummified brandy.
Oh!
No.
Oh no!
This place is so dry. God damn it.
Oh, can she suck a worm brain? You need to suck a worm
If you guys
brain?
can find a worm brain for her, that would be amazing.
Sherman's gonna watch the hunting style of these grubs and see if he can snag one mid-strike so he can grab it and let Brandy brain suck it.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Sherman, give me a nature check.
Okay.
Sorry, Brandy.
So thirsty.
That's gonna be a 18 actually. Wow.
All right, so Sherman, you see that these grubs are naturally subterranean, and the only reason they would come up is to feed. You had seen the Creckle back in Oskal's refuge with crates of these desert rats, and you see the grub had just popped up to grab like an insect. So you immediately come to the conclusion that that's how they're luring these grubs up. They're laying the bait, and then as they pop out of the ground to feed, they're snapping them up, either with a trap or some kind of form. You haven't actually seen any of the Creckle doing this, but that is what you immediately realize in how these grubs work.
If I can catch it, well, I don't know. If I can catch a rat, maybe she'll want a rat brain.
Wait, I have an idea. Can I cast like infestation on the ground, and then once you see a grub, you grab it for me?
Oh,
Ooh.
that's way easier than me trying to catch a rat.
Cool. Okay. Sherman, I'm gonna go right about over there.
You make sure it's not fleas. and we're cool.
Good call, good call. Okay. Got a little cloud of disgusting parasites. Yeah.
All right, you cast Infestation. Sherman, what are you doing in preparation of this?
I am preparing a javelin to Shishgrabob right through.
Okay, we're gonna make 3 checks. The first check, as Flowerkraut has these bugs all crawling around, sure enough, it doesn't take long. A grub pops out of the ground and begins snapping at the insects. The first roll you're going to make, Sherman, is going to be an initiative check because you have to be fast enough to actually spear this thing. So go ahead and give me that.
Is it slower than 7?
Let's find out. It's got to roll a perception check to see if it's even aware that it's in danger. So give me the second check is going to be a stealth check.
Also something I'm not good at. It hears me. It definitely hears me. I got a 1.
Okay, it hears you.
And I roll at disadvantage because of my armor.
Oh, shoot.
So I got a 17 and a 1.
Oh no.
So you get ready, you bring your javelin back, and before you can even throw it, before you even get a try at stabbing this thing, it senses your presence through the ground and just it's underground again. It rolled a nat 20 on its initiative.
Oh my god.
So really quick, one thing comes clear to you guys about Glavio. This is also why the Creckle are the ones that seemingly are catching the grubs, while the Gilaks are out catching the sandbucks, because it takes stealth and precision in order to catch these things before they can escape.
Sorry, little one. I guess you're gonna be dry for a minute.
I'll just drink the dog's brain.
Flower, how many times can you cast Infestation?
I guess as much as I want to. All right, want to try again?
You mind giving me a shot at this?
Absolutely. Let's do it, Timothy.
Tumbleweed gets super excited.
All right. Let me know when you're ready, Timothy.
Shaking the hands, light and loose, a feather on the wind.
Timothy, what are you doing in preparation?
I guess I'm going to be getting into a position, maybe like I perched myself up a little bit higher so I'm not at ground level.
Okay.
Therefore, when it comes out, it's not immediately aware of my presence.
All right, so you find a nice sized rock that you climb up on.
Yes. So
okay.
I have the high ground, Grubbikin.
Don't try it. All right. So Infestation works again.
Yeah.
Grub pops up, starts eating at the magical bugs. Timothy, let's do the stealth check first.
Nat 20. So that's a 23.
It does not see you, not a chance. What are you going to do? Because essentially the stealth check determines the initiative roll, then there's the action you're taking against it. Because it doesn't see you, you get to act without having to beat its initiative. So, what are you going to do?
I guess at this position, it would make better sense for me to throw a dagger at it.
Go ahead and roll an attack with advantage because it's a surprise attack.
That's 15 on the die, so +4, so 19.
Oh yeah, you hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Good lord. Okay, so that's a 4 on the D4, so 6 damage total.
Okay, your dagger goes through the base of this thing's neck, or I guess body, because it's just one big grub. And it immediately reacts by trying to pop back into the hole, but it's now lodged where it is because your dagger's stuck in place. So it can't escape.
Okay, so as I notice this, I yell to Tumbleweed in Harisha's voice, Tumbleweed, get it!
Yes! He runs over and he tackles it, and you see him pull it out completely out of the ground, and he's just rolling on the ground remember, these things are the size of a small dog. So he's rolling around with this thing and trying to like restrain it, and I'm gonna have Tumbleweed roll a strength check. All right, Tumbleweed rolled a 13. The grub rolls a nat 20.
You've got to be kidding me. A nat 20 bug?
It gets out of his grip. So Flowerkraut and Sherman, or actually Flowerkraut, you're probably the closest by. If you would like to take an action before this thing starts to burrow back into the ground, you can.
I'm about to bane this bug.
Because that's immediately what it's trying to do. It's trying to escape. It's trying to burrow itself back into the ground. But it has one of Timothy's daggers lodged in it. So it's having trouble.
Shall I try shocking grasp?
You're going to run up and shock it?
Yes.
All right, you run up and you reach out. Go ahead and roll your attack, which it's a melee spell attack, so it's a d20 plus 3, I think, for you.
Okay, and then the d8 is for damage, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yes, there is a plus 3. All right, rolling. Rolled a 12. Plus 3 is 15.
That hits. Roll your d8 damage.
Alrighty, come on.
So much work for this grub.
1.
Oh no!
Just a little beep.
Little static shock.
Damn it, I'm not creating enough friction. I'm like now rubbing my feet into the sand.
Okay, so you spark it. It's still panicking and trying to get into the ground. It used its action to try to get out of Tumbleweed's grasp. So technically, Timothy, you have an action again. Sherman, you're probably standing a little bit further away from this so that your armor doesn't give Timothy away. But if there's anything you want to do, let me know.
I'm gonna throw my javelin at it.
Okay.
Yeah!
From far away.
Launch it!
All right.
The thing is, it's because it's on the ground and it's trying to burrow, it's going to be technically considered a prone target.
Okay, so
It's harder to hit someone at range if they're lying on the floor.
oh, that's so rude. I got a 20 and a 3.
Oh no!
So does a 9 hit this grub?
A 9 does not hit it. It flies over the grub and kind of right past Flowerkraut, who was reaching down and shocking it.
I'm blocking its path.
Timothy, you basically have one more chance to stop it because it's on its turn. It's probably gonna break down or get through the ground.
Guys, how did we defeat the hag if we can't even beat this thing?
So you said that these things are like a small dog in size, right?
Yes.
How heavy would you consider this thing?
I was thinking about this too.
They're probably about 12 pounds.
Damn
Okay,
it.
so mage hand would not work. Bummer.
Tandem mage hand.
Okay, no more games. I'm just gonna come down off of the rock's face with my rapier drawn, and I'm just gonna try and come down and slash it in two.
Okay. And because it's prone and this is a melee attack, you get advantage on this.
Here we
Nice.
go. Okay. All right, so the first one is 13 plus 4, that's 17. Let me roll again just to see if I get anything better than that. Oh, I certainly did. The next one I rolled an 18, so that's
Yes.
22.
All right. You absolutely hit it. Roll the dammies.
Okay. Good lord, please, come on. This has
4
been
hit points left.
so much work for a stupid grub.
It's all for you, Brandy.
I don't even like Brandy.
She'll like you after this.
Oh my god, I'm rolling so good. I got an 8 on the D8.
Oh.
All right,
I
so
thought
that's
you were
10.
going to say you rolled a 1. Oh my
Oh, I'm just so excited. I've never rolled so well in an episode. This is great. And I've had to bounce between D&D Beyond to physical dice to another dice roller. I'm all over the place.
Timothy, you just created your own shish grabab.
No.
You've got it skewered on your rapier.
I feel like he goes from, the rock face drawing his rapier, and he's in a very anime pose, and it's like at the end of his rapier, and then he notices all the juice coming out of him. He's like, ew, 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 ew. Immediately breaks coolness and just is absolutely disgusted. He's like, take it.
Oh, okay. Oh my god.
And your dagger is like slowly sliding out of it too. All right, so Flowercrat, you take the grub from him.
I do, and I pass it over to Brandy. And I'm also collecting some of the juices for later.
Okay.
How does that taste, girl? How does she look?
She's got all this juice all over her face, and she's just got this big Cheshire Cat grin looking at you.
Is she no longer mummified?
Truly horrific.
She just starts coating herself in grub juice, basically.
That's all she got. All right, thanks, guys.
And then she crawls back into your bag.
Okay.
Wiping my dagger off in the sand.
Why is it always juices? Why?
Oh, Timothy, your armor, you're looking like Studley.
Oh, yeah. Studded armor. That's because I look like a stud.
That's right, stud. Tumbleweed says.
we both give a wink.
That looks great.
Bernice, by the way, has been there the whole time.
Oh my god, she did it!
She literally just has her arms crossed standing next to Sherman, and she's just like...
I tell you, this isn't normally what it's like, but, this is kind of it.
She nods, and she chimes something as quietly as she can.
Passive aggressive chiming.
I'm gonna go get my, I'm just gonna, Sherman walks, across to go get his javelin after failing to catch a bug twice.
Somehow you miss the grub, but you hit a flay and it's flying away with your javelin.
You bitch. I mean, catching bugs is more of a cat thing, so I see dogs miss bugs quite often. If it was a bee, you would have gotten it in the first try.
Of course.
Right.
In your mouth.
Yes.
Sky raisin. Well, that's a danger sky raisin.
So you guys, so you get your javelin back, and Brandy is happy as can be, making all kinds of sloshing noises inside of your bag. As Flowercrat, you kind of walk with maybe half the grub in your hand as you're processing it, maybe, pouring some of the grub juice into the mortar. And pretty soon you guys turn around a couple more of the salt pillars and find this area where you see some of the Creckle standing guard, 3 of them. They are armed with bows and bone blades, and they're wearing armor that definitely looks like it was fashioned by Brock himself. And beyond them, there are 2 salt pillars that are very close to each other. On each one are bound 3 Gilaks. They all are sitting, their binds are kind of rudimentary. Some of them have they've got rope tied around them. Some of them actually have bone manacles around, that they've fashioned with with more rope in order to tie them to a rock. Their arms are above their head, but they're just sitting on the ground and not really moving. You can't really see them very well. They're kind of further out, but you can tell that this area that they're holding them in is kind of an area of the canyon wall that's kind of dipped in, so it's a nice area that they can keep isolated from everything else, and they can just stand in front of it and make sure no one comes in. And they catch eye with you guys, and one of the Creckle jumps down and comes walking over and he sees Tumbleweed, and you see at this point, Timothy, you see the Creckle begin to do Thieves' Cant with Tumbleweed. Tumbleweed begins to respond to him as well, and they start to have a conversation just by using hand gestures and a couple sounds that are coming out of their mouth. Bird sounds, chirping sounds. It's all kind of a mix. Definitely not like a completely verbal language, but they start to get a little bit heated, and then Tumbleweed starts to walk around you guys and starts to gesture to you and starts to gesture to the Gilaks over past them, and then eventually the Creckle looks over and kind of, makes sure that none of you are a Gilak himself, and Tumbleweed comes walking back over after this whole ordeal is over and says, "Prisoners."
All right, let's get to it then.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, yes, that's my voice. Haha.
So you guys are walking in, and the Creckle guards are really eyeballing you as you walk, but they're not escorting you. They're still keeping a watch, very vigilant. You get closer to these Gilaks, and they are motionless. They almost look dead from a distance. Their eyes rolled back. Just, you can only see the white of their eyes as you get closer and can finally see. And you notice that there's like bowls of untouched food sitting next to them and water. So it looks like they aren't responding to even the care that the Creckles are trying to offer them.
Has anybody got decent arcana? Maybe do an arcana check while some of us do like an insight.
Sherman is going to try to detect, use divine sense to try to detect if they've turned undead or like Eve or anything like that.
Okay. So is that one of your divine or
divine sense is a paladin ability, so you can detect good and evil until the end of your next turn. You can sense anything affected by the hollow spell or know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover. So standing right in front of these fellows, if they were undead in any way, I would surely be able to smell it.
So, Sherman, they are not undead. You do not pick up any kind of sense of fiends or undead or celestials, so you don't pick up any bad juju off of them. But they also don't seem like they're dead. You can definitely see their chests rising and they're breathing.
Do you not thirst?
In the meantime, I'll do an arcana check then.
And I'll do an insight.
All right, so what is the question you were running to ask with your arcana and with your insights?
Oh, let's see. I guess I'm trying to see if they are being used as a thrall, if there's magical tethers to them or something of that nature.
Okay, so really quick, Timothy, before I get to Flowerkraut's arcana check, what question did you want to ask with your insight?
So I rolled a 15 on insight. Is there anything specific that I might have caught through Tumbleweed's conversation with the two Creckle guards?
So if using your insight check in regard to his conversation with the guards, you just seem to determine that the guards are weary to let outsiders into this area because perhaps they're afraid that you may let these Gilaks go. But then you could tell that in some fashion through the Thieves' Cant, Tumbleweed was trying to convince them that they're here to help. They may be able to fix this problem, and that's what eventually convinced them to let you guys through. Flowerkraut.
All right. Rolled a 14 plus 3, so 17 for arcana check.
With a 17 arcana check, you walk around these salt pillars looking at these Gilaks. They're not turning their head to you. They're not. They don't. It almost seems like they aren't aware that you're even there. You're looking for some kind of magical evidence that is tying them to something, and so you begin to concentrate as much as you can on the astral. And as you do, the conch in your bag begins to hum. You open your eyes and you see a thread kind of blow through the wind over your shoulder and then down to where the conch is as you're looking down at it, and the thread attaches itself to the conch. You then follow the thread up. It winds around the salt pillar, and you see translucently up on a ridge beyond this part of the canyon walls that you are in, the form of a red-skinned hag with horns standing there, ghost-like. She raises up her hands and you see more gossamer strands connected to her fingers as they all flow through the wind, and they begin to attach to all of the Gilaks sitting there that are bound to the pillar, and you hear her whisper across the wind. Only you can hear it through the conch.
Excellent. You've brought the forgotten motes to me. They will be mine, for I will not fail, as Laminaria did.
And that's where we will end our episode.
Winds with you, BB Army, broken winds notwithstanding. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Break, Battle, and Roll. We hope you're enjoying our adventure as much as we are in creating it. If you're looking for more ways to connect with Break, Battle, and Roll, follow our Instagram and Twitter, both at Break, Battle, Roll, or stop by and give us a like on the Break, Battle, and Roll Facebook page. Or if following the individual nerds is more your thing, you can follow Chad Stafford on his Instagram and Twitter at It's Chit Chad, as well as his YouTube channels, Chit Chad and Chit Chad Plays. You can follow me, Janelle Wilkie, on my Instagram at janelle.wilkie, or you can join Dustin Bleschmidt as he streams on twitch.tv/thefinaldestination. And follow his Instagram and TikTok, both at _final_destination. And his Twitter at FINL Destination. You can also find our beloved barkeep and dungeon daddy, Aaron Rollins, on Twitter at Arkuma, that's AARKUMA. We must also sing the praises of our amazing musicians, Ben Holland and Rory O'Neill, who provided our theme song and many of the original musical scores in the podcast. Ben can be found on SoundCloud, and you can follow Rory on Twitter at Trench Warfare. Now that you're part of the BB Army, we'd love your help in spreading the word throughout the realm. Sharing our podcast with friends and writing reviews helps a young podcast like ours so much. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go pester the barkeep for another drink. Until next time.